Then they're all out there and kissing and stuff like they was not in bed screwing with Kendall all night. Get out of my face.
Buckle up, because Kanye West didn't just crack the door open this time. He kicked it clean off the hinges and sent the internet spiraling. According to Kanye, Lewis Hamilton isn't simply Kim Kardashian's latest headline romance. He's allegedly tangled up in something far uglier, a secret situation involving Kim and Kendall Jenner that's way more complicated than anyone expected. And Kanye insists this isn't gossip or some throwaway rumor. He says this story has roots that stretch years back, and now he finally feels like the truth is catching up. What makes it detonate is the timing. Kim and Lewis show up together at the Super Bowl, cameras flashing, whispers spreading, and right when the buzz peaks, Kanye moves silent but deadly. No meltdown, no tweet storm, just one calculated bomb dropped straight into Kardashian history. And trust me, the part people aren't prepared for is what comes next. Kanye claims this wasn't a one-time boundary crossed. Not even close. So we're breaking down exactly what he's alleging, why insiders say he's been quietly stewing for years, and why this mess might be way bigger than Kim, Kendall, or Lewis would ever want exposed. Because if Kanye's right, this isn't just drama, it's betrayal layered on betrayal. And honestly, him accusing them of some secret three-way situation might be the wildest reveal he's ever thrown out there. Which is saying something, considering this is the same man who once overshared the most random personal details about Kim without blinking. Now Kim has reportedly been seeing Lewis for a while, and everybody expected Kanye to explode. You'd think we'd get another online crash out, another public spiral, maybe even a full social media war. Instead, silence. Calm. Almost too calm. And that kind of quiet from Kanye is what really makes people nervous. Because just because he isn't screaming in public doesn't mean he isn't plotting behind the curtain. Sources say even before these alleged leaks, Kanye had already been moving shady behind the scenes. Bitter. Petty. Watching everything. One insider flat out said he's furious, calling Lewis fake, slimy, and two-faced. They claim he's biting his tongue publicly but losing it privately. Behind closed doors, he's raging, hoping the relationship crashes and burns. And what really eats at him is the idea that Lewis might have wanted Kim all along, even back when Kanye and Kim were still together. Apparently Kanye once confronted Lewis years ago about crossing lines, but Lewis brushed it off and made Kanye look paranoid. Now Kanye thinks he was right the whole time. To him, it's not just jealousy, it's payback. Double betrayal. Old wounds reopening. Another insider says Kanye eventually realized Kim and Lewis may have been seeing each other long before the public caught on. But their flashy appearances, especially going official at the Super Bowl, pushed him over the edge. That's when he says someone from Kim's circle told him they allegedly walked in on Kim, Kendall, and Lewis together in a situation that didn't look innocent at all. You can read between the lines. Nobody knows how long Kim and Lewis have really been involved, but Kanye supposedly believes this triangle has been happening for years. And before you brush it off as Kanye just stirring chaos, even certain blind items started hinting at something similar, mentioning a foreign-born athlete who previously linked up with one sister before circling back to another. Which, if true, paints a pretty uncomfortable picture. And honestly, the whole thing feels messy. The idea that the family would rather juggle the same men between sisters instead of shutting down rumors? That's wild, but maybe not shocking. Because if there's one thing the Kardashians have mastered, it's recycling relationships. Lewis dated Kendall before Kim, remember? And that relationship raised eyebrows too, mostly because Kendall was only 19 while Lewis was already 30. Critics side-eyed the age gap hard. But history shows the family doesn't exactly panic over those differences. Lewis tried defending it, saying Kendall was mature and focused, calling her wise beyond her years. Still, people weren't buying it and accused him of sounding way too comfortable. What's crazier is the rumor that Kris Jenner was allegedly the one encouraging it. Multiple sources claim Kendall wasn't even that interested, but Kris kept pushing. One witness said Lewis clearly liked Kendall, while Kendall seemed more focused on her friends, yet Kris kept nudging them together like it was a business deal. Supposedly, she handed him Kendall's number herself and told him to call. Kendall looked embarrassed, whispering for her mom to stop, but Lewis didn't back off. After that, they were constantly in contact. And Kris? Apparently thrilled. Like she'd just secured a brand partnership instead of her daughter's love life. So you'd think Kris would draw the line at Kim stepping into the same situation, right? Apparently not. If anything, insiders say she's aware and unbothered, maybe even supportive. Which lines up with the family's track record. Kim has dated men connected to her sisters before. Remember Odell Beckham Jr.? Not long after his link to Khloe cooled off, Kim was suddenly around him too. That situation fizzled, but it still felt strange considering how close he already was to the family. Blind items even claimed Kim and Odell were vacationing together in Turks and Caicos, spending private time away from cameras. When followers questioned how real it was, the response was cryptic. They'd definitely been alone together, and whatever happened didn't look strictly friendly. And that's the pattern people can't ignore. Same circles, same names, same rumors, different sister. Which makes Kanye's latest bombshell feel less random and more like a piece of a bigger puzzle, one that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. And we haven't even scratched the surface of the whispers that have followed this family for years. Because once you open this box, the rumors only get darker. There's the long-running chatter about Justin Bieber allegedly getting way too close to nearly underscore toggle almost every sister, and even Kris herself. People still bring up that bizarre "Who's Your Daddy" post he threw online about Kris, like some inside joke nobody else understood. It wasn't funny. It was unsettling. Then there's Drake, another name that keeps circling back like a ghost. He's reportedly floated between multiple sisters too, popping in and out of their orbit like it's normal. For years, he had that on-again, off-again situationship with Kylie, and eventually they stopped pretending it was just friendship. And according to the gossip mill, he didn't stop there. Word is he also got tangled up with Kim at one point, something Kanye himself hinted at before. But here's where things get even messier. Kanye didn't just stop at accusations of secret flings. He allegedly claimed Kim and Drake crossed lines while she was still married to him. And then he dropped something even wilder, saying there were moments that involved Corey Gamble too, like some hidden inner circle nobody talks about out loud. It's the kind of claim that sounds unbelievable at first, until you realize how many strange overlaps keep showing up in this family's history. The same names, the same late-night parties, the same just friends excuses. And that's what makes all of this feel less like coincidence and more like a pattern. Because when you step back and connect the dots, it's not just one rumor or one messy headline. It's a trail of stories that refuse to die. Men rotating through sisters. Exes reappearing in different bedrooms. Relationships that blur into something nobody can clearly define. Every time you think it's just internet noise, another insider drops a hint that makes you look twice. So when Kanye starts talking, even people who don't want to believe him have to pause. Because as chaotic as he sounds, he's been right before. And if even half of what he's implying is true, then this isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. It's a web of secrets that's been building for years, quiet, hidden, and waiting for someone reckless enough to finally drag it into the light.
Of clothing. Drake is the greatest rapper ever.
And you said,
and I don't apologize about it.
You said in war he held fuck your baby's mother's mother?
Yeah, that was hard. That was hard.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, it's like we was confused.
You know what it means. So,
God damn it.
And I put like Corey know what it means.
Corey, oh my God.
So,
Let me get another one.
The Kardashians have always had a reputation for keeping everything close. Almost too close. Like the circle never really expands, it just rotates. The same names, the same faces, passing through different sisters like a never-ending casting call. So honestly, when Kanye started hinting that Lewis might have been moving between Kim and Kendall at the same time, people didn't gasp the way you'd expect. It didn't feel impossible. It felt familiar. Because in this family, lines blur fast. And history says nothing is ever strictly off limits. But here's the part that makes it even stranger. Kim isn't exactly rushing to shut it down. She's not loudly denying anything. No dramatic statement. No hard, that's a lie. Instead, insiders say she's more upset about Kanye talking than about what he's talking about. According to sources, she feels betrayed by how he's exposing her private life, especially since she supposedly tried to be careful with his feelings before stepping out publicly with Lewis. She thought she was moving quietly, respectfully. And now she thinks Kanye is torching that courtesy on purpose. One insider claimed Kim and Lewis were both hyper-aware of Kanye's history with him, the old friendship, the old trust, and didn't want their connection to look like a direct jab. They allegedly didn't want to poke the bear. Everyone knows how Kanye reacts when he feels played. So instead of going official or flashy, they kept things low pressure, low label, almost disposable. The source described it like they're handling the situation with kid gloves, nothing serious, nothing permanent, just vibes. No commitments. No future plans. Just fun. Another person close to them doubled down, saying Louis isn't trying to be anybody's stepdad or half of some power couple brand. He's not chasing domestic life and definitely not settling down with Kim. And Kim? She's apparently not demanding anything deeper either. It's casual, detached, friends with benefits territory. Which, if true, might explain why boundaries seem flexible. When there's no title, there's no rulebook. And that's what makes the whole situation feel even messier. Because when you look back at the family's track record, this wouldn't even be the first time relationships overlapped in weird ways. Travis Barker allegedly had history with Kim before marrying Courtney. There were long-running rumors about Chloe and Scott Disick getting too comfortable. Exes pop up like recycled storylines. Nobody really leaves, they just switch lanes. So the idea of Louis drifting between sisters doesn't sound shocking. It sounds on brand. Which is exactly why Kanye's reaction hits different. To him, this isn't just jealousy over an ex moving on. It's deeper. It's personal. In his mind, it confirms years of gut feelings he couldn't prove. Suspicion he swallowed. A so-called friend he thinks smiled in his face while crossing lines behind his back. Add Kendall into the equation. Add those old blind items. Add Chris allegedly knowing everything and still playing manager like nothing's wrong. Suddenly it stops feeling like gossip and starts looking like a pattern the family's been dodging forever. Because notice what's happening. Kim isn't denying. She's frustrated he's exposing it.